Hey Bears fans, we got a fresh batch of news and rumors to break down just for you guys, so stay tuned for that. But first, gonna ask you again, after the 6th loss in 7 games, if you want Matt Nagy fired, all you got to do is like this video. The more likes we get, the more likelihood it is that he will get fired. That is just science. That is just how life works. So like this video if you want Matt Nagy fired and if you want the Bears to start their coaching search. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into today's show. You're watching Chicago Bears Now, and I am your host, as always, Harrison Graham, and things are certainly tough around this football team right now, but we're going to keep bringing you videos because that's what we do. Okay, let's get into today's rumors roundup here around the Chicago Bears, and we'll start with Justin Fields and the latest going on with him with his injury update. Is he going to play and start against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football in 6 days? Two smoking Jays. 50-50 is where I'm at right now. I think there's certainly a chance. Extra time off for rest certainly gives him a better chance. The origin, of course, comes from head coach Matt Nagy, who had his press conference earlier today. He continues to deal with injured ribs, that being Justin Fields, of course. And it really sounds like to me at this point the main thing right now is just pain tolerance. How much pain is he in? Can he deal with it? Because, I mean, when you crack ribs, it's like hard to breathe, much less play football, right? So it kind of comes down to that pain management for Justin Fields. So I think it's very safe to say that it's still very much up in the air who will start at quarterback heading into this matchup. Matt Nagy said this earlier today, quote, "That's going to be an ongoing discussion for us all week long, talking about Fields' availability. Starting today, we are never going to put him at risk medically, never." So obviously that's number one. If there's a chance of further injury, then Fields shouldn't play until he can get beyond that hurdle. But I will say this, from just selfishly from this point, I really hope he's ready because you're clearly out of the playoff hunt at this point. So when every game Fields doesn't play from here on out this year is a game wasted because I don't need to see Andy Dalton. I don't need to see Nick Foles. We'll talk about those two guys later on. All that matters to us this year is getting Justin Fields reps. Nothing else matters, okay? That is priority number 1, 2, 3 through 100 is getting Justin Fields as much playing time as possible. So I hope he's ready because from a just a viewer standpoint, I want to see him play against Aaron Rodgers and on Sunday Night Football in Lambeau Field. Will Justin Fields play this week? We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let us know what you guys think. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down, answer this question, and after the ad break, we'll talk about this a little bit more. I don't think I'm mentally prepared to watch Aaron Rodgers versus Andy Dalton in prime time. Number one, primetime Dalton is bad. He's always been bad. Even when he was having pretty solid years in Cincinnati, he never performed well under the bright lights. So I'm just not mentally prepared for that. And I go back to the point earlier of if Fields can't play, these games feel pointless in a sense because you're not making the playoffs, right? At 4-8, you're pretty much out. You're not mathematically out, but you're out. You're not making a playoff run. I think we all know that. There's too many injuries. You've lost too many games. It's not going to happen. So I just don't want to watch Dalton or Nick Foles against Aaron Rodgers. Like, what's the point? Like, you're going to lose that game. It's in prime time. It's going to be embarrassing. It's just not good. So I really hope Justin Fields can somehow be ready to go for Sunday night because that gives us all a much bigger reason to watch that game. Here's the deal, though. We're going to be live for that game no matter what because that's what we do. That's what we promise you guys here at Chicago Bears Now. Live watch parties for every single game. Help us reach 38,000 subscribers before kickoff on Sunday. Can we get there? We're 430 away from 38,000 subs here on the channel. That's my goal, to get to 38,000 as soon as possible. So if you want free daily videos, if you want more live watch parties, and of course our live Tuesday shows will be live tomorrow, hit the subscribe button, youtube.com/BearsNow. All right, let's go to our next story here. How about starting Nick Foles against the Packers? How about fake news? That's even less pointless than starting Andy Dalton, or more pointless, I should say, as that was a double negative, basically. I just don't think playing Nick Foles does anything. And I know you subscribers who were on our watch party when Andy Dalton struggled against the Cardinals were like, put Nick Foles in. Why? I mean, what's the point, right? Sure, Andy Dalton struggled with 4 interceptions, but again, you're out of the playoff hunt. Why go to your other backup quarterback, because that's what Nick Foles and Andy Dalton are? Why go from QB2 to QB3 to try and improve to 5 and 8? Like, you're not – if it's not Justin Fields, you paid Andy Dalton $10 million. Just play him. I mean, it doesn't matter who plays outside of Fields. Switching to Foles does nothing, okay? Be very clear. I don't even think Nick Foles wants to play for this team, if I'm being totally honest. I think he'd much rather be on a different roster. He looks very comfortable hanging out, holding that clipboard on the sideline every time they pan over there. Switching to Foles doesn't do anything for the future, doesn't do, I don't think, anything for the present. So what's the point? There is no point. That is my point on this subject. Obviously, Andy Dalton stunk against the Cardinals. No one's disputing that. This isn't me making a sales pitch for why Andy Dalton's a much better quarterback than Nick Foles. I think they're very similar. I think Dalton's probably a tick better, but that's really not the point at the end of the day. More on this in a second as we talk the quarterbacks. But first, something to be positive about. This zip-up hoodie is available for 50% off at chatsports.com/BearsZip. Chatsports.com/BearsZip. This thing is only $35. Usually it is $70. Our partner Fanatics putting this item available for 50% off for a limited time only. So that link below, it'll be in the comments, it'll be in the description. Get a brand new Bear Zip Up hoodie, pretty cool looking one as well, for 50% off right now. And guys, it's getting cold, especially up there in the Midwest. Chatsports.com/BearsZip. Back to Dalton and Foles. They're both backup quarterbacks, right? I think that's fair to say. If they have to start in a pinch, they can. They know how to run an offense. They've both had success in this league. But at this point, they're backup quarterbacks. So I don't think, like if Matt Nagy announced tomorrow, Nick Foles will start if Justin Fields is unavailable to play. Like, are we supposed to do jumping jacks at that? I don't think it really makes a difference. At least Dalton's a little more mobile than Nick Foles. I just don't care. Like, that's my main thought on Dalton versus Foles. It's kind of like Foles versus Trubisky last year. I don't care. Whichever one gives you a better chance to win. But now that you're out of the playoffs, I care even less if it's not Justin Fields at the quarterback position, because it doesn't matter. You're not making the playoffs this year, and it's all about the future. And if Fields can't play, if it's Foles or Dalton, it doesn't really make a difference. But we'll let you guys decide who's the better option. If Fields can't go, who would you rather see out there? Type AD for Andy Dalton, type NF for Nick Foles. Shrug emoji from me. You want to go to Foles, that's fine. I don't think that changes anything. I don't think that helps in the short term or the long term. But, hey, weirder things have happened, especially since there's conspiracy theories out there around Matt Nagy. Okay, number 3. Trade for Sean Payton. And you're probably like, Harrison, trade for a coach? Yeah, it's a thing that you can do, and it has been done, just not in a very, very long time. One smoking J, right? I mean, this happens very infrequently. If you remember in the NBA, this happened with Doc Rivers. He got traded from the Celtics to the Clippers several years ago. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, the Monday morning quarterback column that he does, kind of mentioned this as, hey, Sean Payton, what's the future at quarterback in New Orleans? They're kind of in QB purgatory right now. He grew up outside of Chicago. Could he try to angle his way to the Bears, assuming Chicago fires Matt Nagy, which I think we all are in agreement and consensus that the Bears should fire Matt Nagy. I think we're all on the same page there. And let's be clear, Sean Payton would be a home run. I mean, you get him in Chicago, that is a home run move for the Bears. Here's what Breer had to say in his write-up, saying, quote, if you're the Bears and you make a change after the season, would you see if GM Ryan Pace, or someone else I whisper because Pace should be on the hot seat, a former Saints exec, might be able to land native Chicago in Sean Payton, who's now in a bit of QB purgatory in New Orleans? Number one, Payton would be great in Chicago. I don't think there's any doubt. Great offensive mind, good play caller. His resume is very, very impressive since he's taken over for the Saints, I believe, back in 2006 when he actually lost to the Bears in the NFC Championship game in his first year when Rex Grossman took the Bears to the Super Bowl. Really, the defense did, if we're being honest. You look at the resume, it's impressive. 60 games above 500 with almost 150 wins. 1 Super Bowl 44, 3 NFC title game appearances. Should have had a second Super Bowl appearance, but we all know what happened in that Rams game a few years ago. 9 playoff appearances and 7 NFC South titles. He's a tremendous coach. He's, Belichick is kind of in his own tier. I'd probably put Andy Reid in that tier as well. Sean Payton's in that right there, though. He's right under maybe the top 2 or 3 guys, but he is excellent. Sometimes they've lost earlier in the playoffs than you would like, but he's consistently in the playoffs. I mean, he's very, very good. And Sean Payton plus Justin Fields, who, look, there's still some question marks about Fields. We haven't seen enough to say he's going to be for sure a franchise guy, but I would bet on that chip more than whatever the hell New Orleans has at quarterback. Taysom Hill ain't it. Jameis Winston tore his ACL. He's almost 30 now. Are they going to bring him back? Who knows? Are they going to draft a quarterback? Who's available? I mean, Justin Fields would be the number 1 overall pick if he was in this QB draft class for 2022. So I think it's interesting. I don't know how much I'd give up for Peyton in a trade because you already don't have a first-round pick. That's another challenge. Would New Orleans do Peyton a solid if he wanted out and just let him out of his contract? Why would they? If they can get trade chips for him, it's all very, very interesting, and it'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Who do you want to be the Bears coach next year? Be the GM, whether that's Ryan Pace or a new GM. Who would you hire if you could have your choice at anybody to be the Chicago Bears GM? Go ahead and get your thoughts in right now. And then follow me on Instagram before we sign off. You can give me your thoughts over on IG as well. Still working through a lot of DMs. You guys have been lighting me up over there, which I appreciate it. I will get back to each and every one of y'all as soon as I can. At HGramNFL on Instagram. More Bears, NFL, and sports content over there. We'll see you next time here on Chicago Bears Now.